Hi, this is a video I'm making for friends and family on how to make oyster mushrooms and how to grow them at your own house. Hopefully we can have some fun. You can use containers or plastic bags, either way, it's going to taste delicious when we cook them. Now the supplies we're going to need are paper pellets, which are the recycled paper kitty litter. These are the best and cheapest ones that I've found. You would need a pair of gloves. I use, plastic disposable ones. Dish soap, a natural dish soap is preferred. You'll want to have your bags or containers that you're going to put your spawn into. You're going to need micropore tape. Micropore tape is very important to keep all the contamination out. Scissors, pens to label your things, a bucket to mix it all in together, and some water. Okay, so when you first order spawn, you're going to get it in a bag like this, and it's labeled with the species and what it is. You'll see it's completely grain. This grain is fully colonized, or maybe it's not even colonized, but eventually it'll get fully colonized. This has been in the fridge for a while, so it's over colonized, so it's past its due date. But if I keep it in the fridge, I can just slowly take out what I need, which is what I've done. Okay guys, so I've got a clean bucket. It doesn't look clean because I just used it, but I'm going to do another round. I've got my kitty litter. I just put a bunch in. I'll give you the measurements as well. But you also have these, you have to have the substrate that's already been colonized with all the mycelium. So this is obviously fully colonized. So that's what it's going to look like at the end. That's not colonized at all. And then this is what we have. Okay, so you want to put your dish soap in just like you would a sink of dirty dishes. Mix, just the right amount. It's not an exact science. You just put some in there to keep the contamination out, and then you add your water. I like to use earth because it's a natural one. I bet there's probably better ones out there. But then you just add your water, maybe half to begin with, and then slowly the rest of it, a little bit at a time. You might need a little bit more than the recipe calls for, but you can see the color difference. Some of the pellets haven't even been touched with the water, so we're going to need more than that. That's too dry. You want every single pellet to be the same color, the dark gray, so you'd see it has water being absorbed into the pellet, but you don't want it to be mushy. So these will disintegrate and turn into a mush or a slop. You don't want to go that far. If you know that you've actually accidentally put too much water in, just add some extra pellets really fast and put some dry pellets in there to compensate. But basically, you just want it all uniform, pretty moist, enough that they're all moist, but still holding their shape. So I can see that's almost perfect. Just put a little bit more. Yeah, so it's still holding form. It's right before it's about to break up fully. Cool. Then you take your spawn, and it's going to be fully, you can kind of see it's fully blocked, bricked. It's held together with that mycelium, that fungus mycelium. It's pretty easy to break up though. You don't have to use plastic bags though. When you first order it, it comes in plastic bags. There is another way to do it, which I can show you in another video. It's called the lasagna technique, and that one's use takeaway containers. You can see it's kind of breaking up quite easily, so that's good. Sometimes if you leave it, you'll get hard chunks that don't really break up that easily, and that's fine. Just leave the chunks. You can take them out, you can rip it, and that's it. When you get it together, I'll show you the next step. Okay, so once we've got this all mixed in, you just put them into bags. It's easier with 2 people, so you don't make a mess, but literally all you have to do is just put it into bags like this. It's really messy unless you have another person. You could also use like a takeaway container or even like a measuring cup. And if you have like yogurt containers, that's a good way to do it. Just kind of get all the air out of there. It's not going to make a difference anyway because you're going to cut holes in it for it to be able to breathe later on. And then I always do it flat because it's going to be sitting on my bench flat anyway. So you may as well make it flat. There you go. The last step before labeling is to cut holes in the bag. So in this size bag, you'd want to put 2 holes, one on each side so that it can get oxygen to be able to grow. So you just do a slit and then another slit parallel to it, but really close together, and then cut the plastic off. You cover it with micropore tape you can get at the chemist or the pharmacy, and it just lets oxygen through but keeps all the bacteria out. Okay, so that's going to be your G2. You've taken your spawn that you bought and you've got your G2. You can split this G2 when it's fully colonized into 10 different bags. I'm serious, this thing's going to go a long ways. If you decide not to split them, that's okay. You can actually just put these bags, once they're fully colonized, you can put them in the fridge and hold them there as long as you want. Keep checking on them though. Sometimes they want a fruit in the fridge, but usually that just puts them into a dormant state. And when you're ready to have them fruit, if it's good weather, then you can take them out of the fridge and just put them on a shelf out of direct sunlight, in a light room, but not in the direct sunlight. Now, the G3 bag, we can also label either G3 or just fruiting bag, because these are the ones that you're gonna let grow the mushrooms. So now I'm going to show you what's called the lasagna technique. So if you don't have spawn and you want to give this a go, you can go to the shops, and if you see oysters for sale from Kohl's, sometimes they're like about $5, grab them. Especially if they're new, you can use them for this lasagna technique. Now we're going to layer the paper pellets exactly how we mixed them before, without the spawn. This is going to make our spawn. And again, just using those oysters from the shops. Now I thought it was a little dry, so I just added a little bit of water in there and mixed it in. And next we'll add our mushrooms. And then you're gonna use these oysters to make the spawn. These poor beautiful little things, you're gonna destroy them. And what it's gonna do is you got spores in there, but you also got just the mycelium from the mushroom itself. It's gonna expand and it will colonize this. You just get really ruthless, these poor beauties. You can do the stem. Stem's a bit chunkier. That's okay. It's the same DNA. It's gonna have the same life in the stem as it does the cap. You just kind of spread it out. And you put a little bit on top. Yeah, and then the last thing is you just put the lid on, but you've got to make sure that you have holes in the lid. So when you go like that, you're going to want to cut holes in them and then use that micropore tape to put over the holes. Make sure it's not just a cut, but that it's a round opening, and you just put 2 on each side. Same with the bags, 2 on each side, and this will colonize, and that will be your G1, and you can go ahead and expand it to G2 and G3. So those are the good size holes. That's pretty easy. And actually it's split that way, so I'll just do it that way, just to make sure nothing gets in there. Okay, the last step when you've got it all bagged is to make a label for it. For these bags, it's a G3, so these ones have already gone from spawn to another bag, and then I've expanded it again to another bag. So you've got the name, the common name, which is oyster. It could be white oyster, you can use even white oyster or pink oyster or yellow oyster, whatever. And then you've got the species name, which is Platorus sp. That's really bad handwriting. Here's another one. And then I've got the date, and also G2, or this one is a G3. That way you know if it's a bag that you can expand again, or if you're just going straight into fruiting. If it's a G3, you can actually just put fruiting bag on there. If you try to expand a G3 bag, a lot of the time it's just the mycelium grows weaker each time it's expanded, so it's best just to go with G2 and then either fruit that or expand it one more time and go to G3.